Today we're going to look at my portfolio on MSTY, and we're going to find out what my actual average cost is on MSTY. Hello my friends, this is Legend. So today we're going to look at the YieldMax MSTY, and we're going to look at my portfolio, and basically we're going to look at each purchase that I have made on MSTY. And then we're also going to enter in all of my distributions, and we'll be able to see first what my average is from my capital that is spent, how many shares I own, and then what is the calculated average after I add back into that capital my distributions. And as you will see, it is not the same price or the same share price. When you add that distributions back in, it does affect it in a positive way, because that is money coming back into your pocket and replenishing the amount that you spent. So as you can see here, MSTY at the time of this recording has a distribution rate of 110.48%. So let's go check out the Webull chart and let's see what MSTY looks like chart-wise. Okay, so here we are on the Webull chart. So as you can see, MSTY originally came out at around February of 2024. Looks like it came out at around about a $20-ish price per share. Currently, it is sitting at $26.85. So it is an upward moving trend. It has gone as high as $46.50, and it has gone as low as $18.94. So a big move up and down on this one. It is very volatile. It does use the underline of Mr., which a large portion of Mr. is in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin itself is volatile. Okay, so let's slide over to my spreadsheet and let's find out what my averages are. Okay, so here we are on my spreadsheet, and we're looking at MSTY. And as before, if you enter in your ticker symbol here, it will kick out the current price. That current price right now being $26.85 at the time of this recording. So since I have been in this one for a little bit longer, and I have made a little bit more entries as far as in the number of times I have purchased, I have decided to go ahead and enter those values in ahead of time, rather than make this a long video of you just watching me enter in some values. I think the first time was beneficial just to show you how it kind of works, but for this, I don't want to turn this into a 30-minute video of typing. So I'll just kind of go over it quickly. As you can see, I've made several purchases. Looks like 8/23 was $25.15. I purchased 100 shares. On 8/28, $23.80 per share, I purchased another 100 shares. On 9/17, $20.58, I purchased 50 shares. On October 7th, $27.18 per share, I purchased 25 shares. 10/24 at $27.13, I purchased 47 shares. November 21st, 43.40, 8 shares. November 26th, 31.50, 3 shares. December 19th, 31.60, 19 shares. January 24th, 28.70, 7 shares. And January 27th, 27.25, 7 shares. So as you can see, I am a little bit all over the place on my purchases here. And a lot of them were just purchasing right there on that X date. Not all of them, but a lot of them were. So as you can see over here, I've already put in my distributions. So I'll just call out all the distributions here that I've earned. Now on some of these, if you look, I have, for instance, this one here. I've got November 22nd for this amount and November 22nd for this amount. Now the reason I have it like that is simply because I enter in when I earn the money. So when it shows up into my account, the date on my broker account, I enter that as the date and then the amount. Now, when I have two of them on the same day, it's because I'm also signed up into the lend sharing program. And what that is that lends out my shares, but they will pay me to do so. Now, it's only maybe 50 cents to $1 or, $1.50, maybe a couple bucks or so a month that I'll make on it. But that does separate those shares out. So this one here, that $119.38 was probably paid off of the ones that were lent out. And the $1,304 was the ones that I had still in my account. Okay, so one of them is for the lent section of the number of shares that were lent out, and the other ones were still in my account. Now, that's a whole another thing, and I just wanted to explain that. Not that you have to understand it, but I just wanted to show you and explain why you may see the date twice. It is not because I am making it up or I entered the wrong date. It is because of one of them is the number of shares that I have in my account, and the other one is the amount that were lent out. Now, I didn't receive that amount from the lent sharing program. I received that amount from the distribution, but because it was separated, those are also separated in the distribution payments that I receive. So September the 9th, I earned $370.82. October the 25th, I earned $1,154.48. November the 22nd, I earned a total of $1,423.66. And then December the 23rd, I earned a total of $1,026.34. And on January the 17th, I earned a total of $802.28. So, as you know, the distributions have been going down slightly over the time. So therefore, that's why you see the distribution amounts drop a little bit. But it's still some good money on the distributions. So now let's go up here to my little table here. So let's see how many actual shares that I own. Total number of shares that I own. So I have 366 shares total that I own. Now, my average price per share that I have paid for those shares is $25.44. So you could say that my average is $25.44. The actual current price, $26.85. So I am just slightly under the current price. But that is not my real average price per share. That is only the average price per share that I paid for those shares. The total capital that I invested is $9,312.13. So what that is basically the 366 shares times the average price that I paid was $25.44 equals the $9,312.13. Now, how much have I earned so far in distributions? Now, this is distributions only because I have not done any kind of option plays with these yet. And if I do decide to do that, I can tell you that probably MSTY might be one of those. So stay tuned for that in the coming weeks. But my total income that I have earned so far is $4,777.58. Very nice. Very, very nice. So excited about that. So what that means is that comes out of the amount that I've actually invested. I invested, and otherwise I have spent out of my pocket the $9,312.13. But they have paid me back $4,777.58. So therefore, how much of the capital is still at risk? That amount is those two subtracted. So therefore it's $4,534.55. So therefore my new average calculated share price will be much lower than before, $12.39. If you take the $12.39 price per share, and that is now my new calculated average, not $25.44, I want to also incorporate my distributions. So therefore, with incorporating the distributions back in, it is now $12.39 per share for 366 shares. So what is the percent that I have earned back on my money so far? Another exciting moment, 51.3%. Not too bad, not too bad. I have been in it since August of, looks like August 23. So the 23rd of August is when I got in and made my first purchase. And now I have earned back 51% of the amount that I invested. Not too bad for that quick amount of time. The way it's going, I hope by this year I will earn all of my invested capital back and then some. But of course it does all depend upon the distributions. So what do you think about this? I kind of like this. I like the way way I'm looking at it now is looking at that adjusted price per share, because that really tells me where I'm at, what my actual price per share is. So if I were to sell my shares at $12.39, all 366 shares, then I will have earned back my calculated adjusted capital of $4,534. And then you add back in your income that you've earned, which is your distributions, of $4,777, and you will have earned back your full capital of $9,312. So this helps you to see and better understand where you're at in the process. How close are you to getting your original invested capital back? And then you're just making 100% gains. That's what I like to see, and that's why I'm doing these here, just to show you where I'm at. Some of them I'm in much better shape. MSTY, of course, being that one, right? I have made pretty good on MSTY. And there's others that I haven't done so well in. But it helps me to understand what that average price is, that real average price per share is. So if I am in a position or on a stock where it's just not seeming to move like I want it to, and if it could ever get above my average price per share, then I know if I can sell it at above that point, in this case, MSTY, if I can sell it above that $12.39, I can, at that point, receive all of my capital back. I will have received all of my capital back if I can sell it above the $12.39. Instead of looking at that $25.44 and thinking, well, if I sell it above that, then I'll get all my capital back. And yes, you would, because you would get all your capital back, plus you would have earned your distributions. So, first off, you would love to get it above that $25.44 price over here. If you can sell it above that, then of course you get to keep all of your premium and your distributions, and you make a capital gain on the price appreciation. But this price is good to know over here, the adjusted price, because there are a lot of times you get into one where it's starting off great and then it just kind of fizzles out and it doesn't seem to want to do much. So this will tell you really how much you stand to lose per share due to the current price of the share price of your underlying or your stock here and your adjusted price. So that difference would be what you would potentially lose per share or gain per share. So I hope all of that made sense. It really helps me to understand where I'm at in each one of these YieldMax ETFs, because getting these distributions back and buying on odd times and everything else like that, it can get a little confusing, and you can get lost of knowing where you're at. I mean, you know how many shares you have, and you'll know your average price per share of the capital you spend, because that's shown. But whenever you start getting your distributions, sometimes that can get lost, and you think you're still at this average price over here, when actually you're at this calculated average price over here. So I have earned 51.3% so far on this one. So very excited about this one and the way it's going. I hope to get all my money back here in the next 6 months. But that's not guaranteed, of course, but we shall see. And of course, the more purchases I make, that will slow down and extend that return on my capital, but that will help to also grow the number of shares, and that distribution payment is the plan, right? So I hope all this is making sense, and this is helpful. It is to me. I enjoy this. So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. So if you don't mind, please take a moment, like, subscribe, and share to make sure that others who may have MSTY or any of the other YieldMax ETFs, to help them understand what it is and where they're at in their plays, and that they may not be as off or far off of that current price as they thought they were. So as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, legend out.